On November 10, 1898, white supremacists murdered African Americans in Wilmington, North Carolina, and deposed the elected Reconstruction-era government in a coup d'etat. I'll have more coming up. This is KRT, Critical Race Theory. It's not the one they teach in law school, but the one banned in public schools. It was the morning of November 10th, 1898, in Wilmington, North Carolina, and a fire was the beginning of an assault that took place 7 blocks east of the Cape Fear River, about 10 miles inland from the Atlantic Ocean. By sundown, Alex Manley's newspaper, the Daily Record, had been torched. As many as 60 people had been murdered. The local government that was elected 2 days prior had been overthrown and replaced by white supremacists. For all the violent moments in United States history, the mob's gruesome attack was unique. It was the only coup d'etat ever to take place on American soil. Before the violence, this port city on the Cape Fear River was remarkably integrated. 3 out of the 10 aldermen were African American, and black people worked as policemen, firemen, and magistrates. Democrats, the party of the Confederacy, vowed to end this Negro domination in the 1898 state legislative elections. Their strategy was to enlist men who could write, white journalists and cartoonists, men who could speak, white supremacists who whipped up emotions at rallies, and men who could ride, the Ku Klux Klan-like red shirts who were basically armed ruffians on horseback. The white supremacists used an editorial by the editor of Wilmington's black newspaper, the Daily Record, to steer a firestorm at the time of the elections. The editorial responded to a speech by a Georgia socialite who promoted lynching as a method to protect women's dearest possession from the ravaging human beast. Manley condemned lynching and pointed out the hypocrisy of describing black men as big burly black brutes, when in reality it was white men who regularly raped black women with impunity. He added that some relations between the races were consensual. Meanwhile, white supremacist rallies kept white outrage at the editorial at a fever pitch. Former Confederate Colonel Alfred Waddell gave a speech suggesting that white citizens should choke the Cape Fear River with carcasses if necessary to keep African Americans from the polls. On Election Day, the red shirts patrolled black neighborhoods with guns. Democrats won every seat, but these were state legislative seats. African Americans still maintained power in Wilmington city government. Then, some 800 white citizens led by Waddell met at the county courthouse and produced the White Declaration of Independence, which stated, quote, "We, the undersigned citizens, do hereby declare that we will no longer be ruled and will never again be ruled by men of African origin." The following day, November 10th, Waddell led a mob of 2,000 armed men to the Daily Record and burned the building to the ground. Rumors tore through the black neighborhoods. The tinderbox united at the corner of 4th and Harnett, where African Americans at Walker's grocery store faced off against white men at Brungy's saloon. A shot was fired and someone yelled, "White man killed!" Then gunfire erupted. Unarmed black men scattered in all directions and were gunned down. The violence quickly spread. The Wilmington Light Infantry, the White Government Union, and the red shirts poured into black neighborhoods with rifles, revolvers, and a Gatling gun. As bullets were still flying, Waddell threw out the democratically elected alderman and installed his own. This was nothing less than a coup d'etat. The hand-picked men elected Waddell mayor. Many black leaders were jailed for their own safety and then forcibly marched to the train station under military escort and sent out of town. After the riot, thousands of black citizens fled, In 1900, the North Carolina legislature effectively stripped African Americans of the vote through the Grandfather Clause and ushered in the worst of the Jim Crow laws. This was the most successful and lasting coup in American history. It instituted white supremacy as official state policy for half a century and prevented black citizens from voting in significant numbers until passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. 2 years before the coup, 126,000 black men registered to vote in North Carolina. 4 years after the coup, the number was 6,100. After the coup, no black citizens served in public office in Wilmington until 1972. No black citizen from North Carolina was elected to Congress until 1992. No one was prosecuted or punished for the killings and violence. President William McKinley ignored pleas from black leaders to send in federal marshals or U.S. troops to protect black citizens. Well, it appears nothing has really changed in Wilmington. In June 2020, 3 Wilmington police officers were fired after a recording emerged in which they used racial slurs. One officer was heard saying, quote, "Go out and start slaughtering. Wipe them off the effing map." This has been Critical Race Theory. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe and share this video with your friends and family. I'll see you next time.